The opportunity to ask questions. I would like to introduce our first partners, UCLA Center X, Melda Nava and Emma Hipolito.
Good morning, everyone. We weren't sure, Gina and Dr. Day, if we were sharing our own slides or if you'll just click us through.
We will just click you through.
Oh, thank you.
You are awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We want to thank, I'm Emma Hipolito. Thank Dr. Day and Gina for inviting us, and thank you for being here this morning. As Gina said, well, my colleague Imelda's here. Imelda, why don't you introduce yourself and then I'll say a few things.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being here, and thank you again for inviting us. We're happy to share our learning and continue to learn with others.
You may be coming in and out, Imelda. You may have to turn off your video. And so so Imelda heads a Department of Ed TQP grant. That's a pathway within our program, and that's called STEM C3. And so it's a STEM residency with a computer science authorization. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then I oversee the entire program. I'm the administrator over our program, and oversee the work we do with the CTC residency. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Just a little bit of information about our program. So it's a 2-year graduate program. Principally, most of the students are graduate students, about 240 students total. We have undergraduate pathways in math, music, and science. And some of those students have joined the CTC residency. And then we have 3 residency pathways within that larger structure. So as I mentioned, STEM C3, which Imelda heads. And then we have a STEM and bilingual residency, which is CTC funded with LA Unified. And then the new one we call Promoting Representation, which was an expansion, a CTC expansion grant focused on diversity. And that's also, our partners are LA Unified. I should add, Imelda's partner is a smaller district for STEM C3. It's the Centinela Valley Union High School District. So it's a 4-district high school, 4 high school districts, sorry. And you all know LA Unified is just massive. So it's just a really large partner. So we're able to hold these 2 residencies with them. I think I guess my Cadillac did. Can we click one more time? I kept, as we were talking about this, we kept saying, really we have, and I'm sorry, I should have added this as well. So we've had a residency program funded by TQP, right, by the Department of Ed for over 10 years. So we've been doing this work for a long time. What we want to bring to you today is we have 2 versions. We have this Cadillac version that's funded by federal monies. And then, I kept saying, well, we have like a Toyota, and it's a really solid one that has learned from the Cadillac. And so we hope to bring you both, just to kind of to give you, well, my hope is that you'll see a sense of what we've learned along the way, and what we're able to do with the CTC funded residencies, because we've built and we're still learning. The bilingual work, as you'll hear me speak, was expanded greatly with the CTC residency, and we really had to think hard about how we were doing that work intentionally. So two paths, well, I don't know, they're not pathways, 2 visions. For a little bit, we don't know enough about cars. Clearly, for a little bit, we're like, well, like a Toyota's it's not in the same model or make as a Cadillac. So, but we thought that made sense, a Cadillac version and a Toyota. So we hope I hope it makes sense to you all. And I think I'm passing it to you, right, Imelda?
Yeah.
And then I'll also add, Imelda and I are talkers. We're trying really hard to keep it to our slides, and so that we'll have opportunities to chat.
Yes.
So if we could go to our next slide, I think Imelda will be ready.
Yeah. So for the mentor selection, and just we've been doing this work since I've been on these TQP grants as a faculty advisor and now director since 2008. So the very first one, when we were first starting this work with Dr. Anne-Marie Francois, we were like, how do we even start this mentor selection? How do we do this together? And we reached out to our partners, which at the time was the Center for Powerful Public Schools. And we worked together with LA Unified. So it was a triad, a community-centric approach. And we developed a tool to go and observe mentors. We looked for ideological alignment to TEP. So where did we go first? We went to our alums. Our alums have been a great resource, great thought partners. We've learned so much from them. We already have some trust with them, so they often offer really valuable feedback to our program as well. So we recruited specifically from the schools that we work with. And Emma later on will show exactly where we are in LA Unified. We don't go everywhere. We are intentional about working with specific Title I schools with whom we have a partnership with whom we know the leadership, and with whom we have a nice cadre of alums. We really try to build capacity, so that is intentional in our work. For the application process, we did have them submit a traditional application. They have like a statement of purpose, a brief one, why they want to do this work. From there, we selected who might be interested and we wanted to come and learn more from, and we'd have them come in for a group interview. So much of our work is about working with each other and working in partnership, collaboratively. So the group interview process was really a key to helping us better note those collaborative people skills, frankly, how we work together, how we work in a group. They did this by also seeing a video of a pre-service teacher. So we offered a video of a pre-service teacher and they offered feedback. How might they give feedback? What might be their strengths? What might they need to work on, right? So a conversation around those lines, as well as a written piece. The selection process involved both the LEA and UCLA. At that point, when we first started, our community partner was also involved, but since then we've really moved more toward the LEA and UCLA. But it really started with that vision. What are we looking for in a mentor together, and then going from there into that collaborative selection process. So the next slide. As Emma was noting, with this, the TQP funding allows for more people to be involved in the learning and engage in professional development. So each TQP funded grant had a specific focus. The first one was community teaching. The second one was STEAM. This third one is CS and computational thinking. So given the theme, we offer professional development that aligns with that thematic approach, always guided through equity, always that's central. So having professional development opportunities, this means an extended orientation. We could have them there for a week and a half, potentially. We could engage our mentor teachers in that orientation for an extended time. We can offer follow-ups. So throughout the entire year, we have community of practice spaces. We have partners in practice spaces where the mentor teacher and the resident teacher are working on their relationship, on their partnership, and how they work together in that space. Dr. Tanika Orange has been an amazing partner in that work. Part of the TQP grant helped inform that reciprocal learning partnership approach that informs our professional development. between the resident and the mentor teacher. So that work has been key, and that has been a part of this professional development space. With professional development, this also allows for research, and the evaluation process is very robust. This research and this evaluation allows for iterative feedback to the program. There's a strong connection between the research and practice, and we're constantly revisiting what's happening, what's working, what's not working, given what we're learning from the research, from the evaluation, and our partner teachers, as well as our students. So this isn't, we have different places where this different type of feedback occurs, and different structures where that occurs, but it is a continual renewal piece that we can, that we are all engaged in a learning community for the purpose of better serving the needs of our teachers and needs of our K-12 students, especially where we work. So that is it's a complex, but it's also very fulfilling and frankly very engaging and innovative, lively space where we center students and practitioners in this work. So this is just, we have a Center X exchange that has a lot of these artifacts. We will share the link. I'll post the link in the chat after Emma finishes. But we have an exchange where a lot of these resources and approaches are there, and you all can download some of this work.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Imelda. If we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, I was reading chat. So as Imelda, based on that work that was created under the grant was called, the TQP grant was called Impact. When we were awarded the CTC STEM and bilingual residency grant, we had a solid pool of math and science mentors that we could, lure back into our work, right? And a concentration of these schools in the Pico Union neighborhood in LA Unified, right? So we had a concentration, which is how we typically work. We typically place 3 to 4 students, sometimes 5 students at one school site. And so that was natural and had already been working before the CTC funded grant, because those were solid mentors who had been very tied to our work. But the bilingual residency meant an expansion of our bilingual work, and it was principally at first a residency for bilingual elementary teachers, but it also had grown to bilingual social science. So we had to work hard to find the right people. And it's similar to what Imelda said, like, of course, we have all the requirements, right? State requirements for mentors, but also we're really looking for some dispositions and the shared vision of equity. So when we were expanding the residency, we had to go through our bilingual program. So through our partnership district, through LA Unified, where were our partner schools and did they have a dual language program? As we were searching, we talked to people we trusted who were solid mentors and said, who do you know? We need help. And actually, I think that was incredibly fruitful. And they would say, oh, my friend works in this grade level. Let me talk to them first, and then you go talk to them. And then the other thing we did, Imelda referenced this, we rely heavily on our alums. And I'm going to be 100% transparent and tell you that we have not done a very good job, and we're trying to do better at tracking where our alumni go. In our center, we have a program that credentials administrators, and they do a much better job than we do. And so we're trying to work on that to see where they're teaching. And so then that way it's, it's a lot easier, as Imelda said, they share our values. So it's a lot easier than to go in to be able to talk to them about the type of mentoring we need. we have a lot of alum who are also administrators because of that program that we have in our center. So again, a school where an alum might be the principal now, how could they help us? LA Unified has a multilingual center, and one of our alums works in that center. And so that was another path. Where do you recommend, right? And then again, recommendations of other allies, people we knew who could say, oh, at such and such school, this would be a good place for you. I also want to say there's a map there of LA Unified, which you all know is massive, right? But I don't know if you can see it, but there's a circle around the communities where we work, and they pretty much follow the freeways. And so one, we have a geographic zone, but we also, and this is true of the entire program, we also have a commitment to Title I schools. And so most of our schools are 99% free and reduced lunch. And so that's super important because that's our mission, right? To serve communities of color that have been under-resourced, historically under-resourced, right? I'm going off. So I'm going to switch. I'm going to say next slide, please. And if you, so I think I said pieces of this. We're looking for, again, alignment with our values, and then also experiences. So in our center, we have, I don't know, like 25 professional learning programs. So that's the other place, that's what I mean when I say allies. And so we're looking for teachers that have stayed involved, that they're involved in some sort of professional learning. And we have, in terms of our application process, when we hear someone, when we were looking for bilingual mentors and we hear someone, we usually talk to an administrator first and say, oh, we would like to approach so-and-so, and we're going to visit their classroom. And so it's not the extensive process that you heard Imelda talk about, but nonetheless, we go and visit the classroom to get a sense of what does this place feel like, what sort of teaching practices are happening. We also have a contract that we have people sign where they agree to be a mentor for the whole year, and other pieces around that, and that they agreed to our to coming to meet with us, sometimes monthly, sometimes a couple times a quarter. I just wanted to note that Imelda noted 3 people in her, right, in the original TQP, 3, the community partner, the district, LEA, and UCLA decided who were mentors. In this situation, we decide who the mentors are. And it's worked fine because I think there's trust. In terms of, I know like last year was really a hard year, right, in schools, and it was harder for people to say, yes, I will do this work. One of the roles we have that in our program that's, I think, very unique is a role we call a faculty advisor. So our students are cohorted. There's a faculty member that heads each cohort, and that person does a little bit, some field supervision, has a team of people that do field supervision with them, but that person's role is to know our partners and to know our schools. And so I think that makes a huge difference when we were struggling to be able to know, right, to know schools and places where other people were willing to help us because we're a known entity, right, where we can walk into schools and people know who we are. As opposed to just being, quote, UCLA, right? The other way we've sought to retain mentors is these quarterly meetings. They started quarterly, and then people were asking for more. And those meetings have been, the work around those meetings, it's really professional learning. And so last year, and it hasn't been as clear this year, but last year, the mentors were really clear. We need some work around cognitive coaching and adaptive schools. And we're like, okay, well, and we have that work in our center. So we asked that project to come and speak, and did some workshops, and it was all online. We did the workshops with the mentors, and I think those, and we have a big conference coming up called With Different Eyes that focuses on multilingual students. We invite all of our mentors to that conference, and we pay the fee for them to participate. This is led by the writing project in our center. And so I think we've been very conscious about creating those relationships, so that people want to stay with us, and that when there's problems, because they're, they're adults, people have different needs. When there are problems, that people have a way and a vehicle to come back and that we can find resolution. All right, I think I've gone over, but we wanted to give you time for questions and thoughts or anything along those lines.
Oh, thank you, Emma and Milda, for sharing. You've got lots of great gems here. One thing that struck out to me, and I'm looking here at the selection and the part where it says UCLA decides, and then you nodded to there's trust in the partnership and the relationship there. And so I was curious, how would you say that trust developed? Like what did you do to kind of strengthen the partnership so that you all could say, we'll make the final decision?
Yeah, I think, one, we've been partners for a long time. Two, I think there's an understanding that I think with the district that our students are well prepared to do the work of the schools where we ask them to work, because they've had solid LA Unified mentors. And I think, I can't speak for them, but I know they know we're very hands-on, and that relationships have been built at schools, so that I believe that's probably the answer. I believe that's the answer.
I think in addition to that, that work, right, in that history, it's also that our faculty have stayed as well, and that has allowed for those deep relationships. So there isn't a lot of turnover, frankly, in our center, in terms of our faculty advisors. So because we've been here, we've been part of the work. We have deep standing relationships with a lot of our partners in the community and with our LEAs.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that intentional effort and work to get to know the partners and to really build that relationship so that it can make mentor selection or whatever you're doing that much easier. So it's a good tip there. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see, Gina, do we have any questions in the chat that may have popped up?
We do. We have one that just popped up. It says, when do you hold the professional learning meetings for mentors? We're struggling with when to offer these, since there's subbing shortage and our mentors have such different schedules. So there seems to be no common time to get together besides in the evening.
Yeah, they're in the evening.
They're in the evening or Saturdays.
Yeah, Imelda does Saturdays. Saturday with different nights on Saturday. Mm-hmm. But we have to do evenings because we're in the same situation. There are no substitutes. I think that, being really conscious about the space, and I think in terms of trying to be very responsive to people's needs, I think that's made the evenings possible. But I remember the first year, so this was pre-pandemic, the first year of the CTC residency, we just bought really good food, and we told people come to this meeting, and we had a guest speaker, and we tried a lot of the bells and whistles, and people came to that first one, and then it seemed to we had more of a struggle to bring people in, but it seems like we're doing better online. And so even though we don't have the bells and the whistles.
It's a great, and also Holly and Sarah, I loved it because I was ready to jump into that idea as well. And they mentioned in the chat, if you haven't read it, consider the flip-flops, where the residents, if they have their sub permits, like Sarah mentioned, they can take over the classroom and actually get paid. So it's some compensation there as well, while the mentor attends professional development during the school day. And then you can actually flip if you want. The mentor can come back and the resident could attend that same PL from the resident point of view. Yeah, that's just one model. I don't know if Holly and Sarah, you want to expand on that as well.
I was just going to say, I love that you all at UCLA are able to do that summertime, because we find that subbing works really well for us to be able to pull the mentors regularly. but it means we can never get the residents and the mentors together in one place
Mhm.
at the same time, which is, we do 2 days in the summer. We don't have the funding to do more, but that feels like a missing piece for us.
Yeah, that's Sarah, thank you for that. That's part of the, so Imelda's able,
Mhm.
with her work, it's everyone, it's mentors and residents in together, right? And that's one of the things that are, as we've been, not the large scale research that Imelda engages with, but just survey evaluation type work. That's one of the things the CTC residents are saying. It's like, we know you bring our mentors, we should be part of those conversations as well.
Yeah.
So trying to find a balance, like to things that are directly addressed to mentors that will help facilitate conversations with residents, and still like trying to find some places where they come together. So like the Saturday conference is one of the ways we're seeking to do that.
All beautiful ideas being shared. Any other questions? Oh, one more from Andrea. We have one district partner that provides subs for full day PD for residents. Oh, she's sharing an idea.
Oh yeah, that would be wonderful. I mean, we have asked LA Unified about the sub idea. They have specific rules about substitute teaching in a larger district. So that is a limitation. We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Our
Imelda,
teachers
there's
would
a
need to
question.
sub.
I know you
Oh.
wanted to talk about that, but I want to make sure we answer the questions. It says, can you describe what the shared PL looks like? Do you teach the residents and mentors the same topic at the same time? Or do different PL for each and then have them come together? So
We've done all of that. Actually, we have had, right now, a lot of we call it a community of practice, is joint. The focus right now is CT for equity for our current program, CT and CS for equity. So they come together and experience a professional development lesson as an adult learner. They debrief and they engage in their own thinking and connection to their own practice, potentially some planning. We also have some mentor only time, and that's at a different time where we come together and really focus on what type of feedback are they giving, all the CTC pieces, all the TPE pieces that that they need to know. We call that, they're check-ins for us, right? They're short, they're to the point. We usually start with, for them, like just having a conversation with each other, feedback for each other, best practices with each other. So that's important too, because they talk differently among mentors than they do when they're together. So, and for our students, we have them in class. So seminar time is a valuable time for them for us to get feedback on their thinking. So we do try to differentiate the different ways of meeting because they all have value for different reasons.
Thank you, Imelda. Thank you, Emma, for all of your work that you're doing at UCLA and sharing that with us here in this space. That was a great tee up to our February session where we're going to be talking more about mentor and resident training, which is a great place to go next after we talk about recruitment and selection. So maybe we'll talk later about that next step. So thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.